Hi guys, my name is Sharmila, daughter of N. Tyagarajan. Today me and my friends are going to do an informative speech. The topic we chose was Junko Furuta torture and murder cases falls under crime. Today we would like to share the story about kidnapped Japanese girl case Junko Furuta, who was being kidnapped for 44 days. Now, imagine someone is being kidnapped, being locked, being raped and tortured, not just from only one or two persons, but more than 100 people. Also, she was being kidnapped and tortured not only for 1 or 2 days, guys, but for 44 days. That's what happened to a teenage girl from Japan named Junko Furuta, where at that time she was just only a 16 years old innocent girl. This was a case where gives a big surprise to the Japanese people at the year 1988. A juvenile criminal case that involved 4 guys who was one of them related to the Yakuza group. All the teenagers had been identified as Miyano Hiroshi, Minato Nobuharu, Jo Kamisaku, and Watanabe Yasushi. While Junko Furuta was a secondary student at Misato in the area of Saitama, Japan. She was a well-being known pretty girl and also always have the attention in her school just because of her popularity. Her popularity also causes a lot of jealousy between and among her schoolmates. Not only that, Junko Furuta had many admirers, and one of her admirer name was Miyano Hiroshi, who was also one of the kidnappers. Miyano Hiroshi is also a well-known person who is specifically good in bullying everyone in the school. One day he tried to confess his feeling to Junko, and he has been rejected easily. From that day onwards, Miyano started to keep up madness and a grudge to Junko because he felt shy after received a reject from his crush. Let me tell you a bit about the kidnap scenario. On 25th November 1988, Miyano asked his friend to join kidnapping Junko. Junko has been brought to a house that was being owned by one of the 4 guys. To be more specific, it was Minato Nobuharu's house. The house was located in Ayase, in the area of Adahi, Tokyo. They felt scared that the people will search for Junko, so they forced her to call her parents and tell them that she already ran away following her friend and will never come back. She also has been forced to say that she is not caught in any danger to her parents to convince them even more and telling it strictly. Junko feels so scared, and that's why whatever they ordered, she did it. The house was frequently visited by Minato's parents from time to time. They were shocked when they found out that Junko was also staying in the same house. When Minato was questioned by his parents, Minato said that Junko was his girlfriend, while Junko was being told to act normal every time that his parents visited the house. From the following report, even Minato's parents got suspected that something was not right. They will be not reporting it because they scared that their own son was related with the Yakuza group. Since that, no kidnapping issues was reported. Even there was no mission searching conducted. Junko didn't realize about the wrong act that she chosen will put her in a great danger.
Hi everyone, my name is Shishani, and today I'll be talking about the torture methods that were used on the victim Junko Furuta. So as we all know, Junko Furuta is a teenage high school girl who had been kidnapped for almost 44 days by 4 different men. Now, Junko Furuta was being abused, or in other words, I would say maybe tortured in very absurd ways in the 44 kidnapping. Junko was embarrassed by not being able to wear any clothes, meaning that she was naked mostly all the time when she was around the 4 men and even by other men as well. Junko Furuta was not only raped by those 4 men, but she was also raped by 100 different men from the group called Yakuza, who were called by Minato. So she had been expected to be raped for about more than 500. Junko had gone through severe kind of torture. She had been hit on her head using a golf stick, and her head was most of the time smashed on the wall. What was more disgusting was that Junko was always being pissed on by the men that had already raped her. She had been forced to do masturbation to make them feel. Junko was neglected when it came to food. She had eaten cockroaches and even drank her own urine in order to survive. These men were really cruel to the extent where they did not even provide her food. They also lighted up fireworks in Junko's anus, and that had made Junko have severe burns in her. Junko had also been hung as a punching bag for these men. She had also had been inserted inside a refrigerator and had been kept there for a few moments. In precise, for more than a few hours. Junko Furuta's scary story ends here when her body no longer can accept any food, even though if she felt hungry. She could not even eat anymore, and she could not even move. There was no hope. And therefore, that concludes the story of Junko Furuta. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. So, I will be going to the next part. The next part is about attempt on escaping herself. There was one time when she tried to run away. She was trying to call the police when the people who raped her were drunk all together. However, she was caught in red-handed and her life has been burnt. After that, each of her bones were shattered and cracked. That made her cannot walk and stand anymore. During winter season, she was forced to sleep at the balcony. So, we will be moving to the next part. The next part is about 30 days pass. All of this make all of her movement being limited. Now, not just she's having difficulties on eating, but also hard for her to pee or poop. Imagine this 16 years old girl want to go to the toilet that was on the down floor. She will have to crawl in about one hour. Besides, her ears also broke and her brain size getting smaller. Now, Junko Furuta, the beautiful girl, which became the obsession to all of the students in her school, is nothing than just a bad damage. Her body was covered with a lot of blood. With only a first glance, nobody will recognize her anymore. So, move on to the next part. 44 days passed. 44 days had passed. All of the torture makes Junko give up and lost her mind. Until she was begging to the kidnappers. She was begging not to be released, but begging to be killed. Their cruelty rejected her request. In fact, they chased her until on 4th January 1989, they challenged Junko in mahjong game, and if she wins, they will give anything that Junko wants. It was surprising when she won the game. The evil teenagers were mad and beat Junko. She was beaten by using steel, and all of her body has been burned. It was so heartbreaking when Junko does not die immediately, but dies slowly because of the sufferness from getting beaten and burned. On the next day, Junko Furuta has passed away. So, the next part is about the iron drum barrel. If you guys wonder, where will the kidnappers put the corpse of Junko Furuta? The answer is in this part. The evil kidnappers then put the corpse into the iron drum barrel. They pour concrete and throw the iron drum barrel nearby to the Tokyo Sea. After the 44 days, finally, the 4 teenagers had been arrested by the police. They were considered as juvenile cases as they are still under the age. Their identity had been kept secretly. However, one journalist had exposed their true identity and the crime that they have done, because the journalist believes that the 4 teenagers does not have any right to get a protection.
Teenagers from Hell. Hiroshi Miyano was 18 on that time and he changed his name to Hiroshi Yokoyama. Joe Ogura was 18 years old and have changed his name to Joe Kamisaku. Nobuharu Minato or Shinji Minato that was 16 years old. Meanwhile, Yasushi Watanabe was 17 years old. Although they were indicated in juvenile code, they had been given adult punishment. The 3 teenagers from the 4 only imprisoned for 8 years while the real factor was imprisoned for 17 years. They used to make an appeal to decrease their period of imprisonment but was rejected. In fact, it has been increased to 20 years of imprisonment. Same goes to the 2 other teenagers' application. One of them does not make any appeal and the 8 years of imprisonment was maintained.
Fast forwarding to 2018, all 4 teenagers have been released and they all should be in their early 30s, and for all you might know, they've already changed their names. So that's the end, and here's just a few evidences that we had collected from the case.